okay? So what I'm going to talk about is the rifle weapon that's in use in 18th century American Revolution, and specifically at Kings Mountain. Kings Mountain is almost a unique engagement in the Revolution in that there does not seem to be any other battles of any size in which accounts left make it sound like almost every man's got a rifle weapon. So to have 900 men in one place and 850 of them have rifle weapons, that's remarkable. Doesn't mean it probably does mean they're cool guys, but it's really more reflective of the fact that they're frontier settlers. And a rifle would be a more important piece to have if you were living on the frontier, you know, maybe supplementing your farming operation with hunting. But the primary use of it is what? Oh, you said you knew everything. Primary purpose of a rifle is to put food on the table. Okay, they are impressed in the military service. The British actually manufacture them for their armies. However, regular military units do not like rifle companies for an obvious reason once we get into this a little bit. So the military guys are going to train and use ammunition that's prepared for them. So it's already got powder measured out. It's got a lead ball in it. It's in a paper tube. If you got two teeth that come together, it helps to tear, but the manual says bring the cartridge to the mouth and tear. So I guess you could gum it open, but it might take a while. But the idea is they can load and fire very quickly. So the negative on a rifle weapon is that you cannot load and fire very quickly. Well, we'll talk about the pluses first. So, does everybody know why it's called a rifle? I know you do. Why is it called a rifle? So look at the muzzle. Do you see anything in there? Does it look, I can't point it at you, but can you see anything in it? It looks kind of funny.
Because the rifling.
But it looks like you see some rough edges there, don't you? Well, that's actually the end of the grooves and the lands that go down here. Now they call them lands and grooves today, but back then they're rifles and grooves. And so the rifle is the part that's not cut. So it's a very laborious process to take a metal tube and start scraping the inside with a cutter by hand, dragging a tool through it to eventually establish a number of grooves in the barrel. So the grooves are not straight. The Germans were the first people that began rifling weapons. Can you see that?
Yeah.
They're actually making the grooves straight. So the idea is, and you'll see how clean this is now, because I cleaned it the other day. It's got to be clean.
Good boy.
So the idea is the fouling that comes off of the burning of the powder, a percentage of the powder that goes in will remain on the weapon as fouling or crud, or whatever you want to call it, and in the barrel. And so the Germans are originally making the grooves straight down the barrel. The idea is to help fouling work its way out so you can continue to load without it getting too difficult. And so I kind of throw it out as a joke. I think young Hans was talking to young Mueller about some girl, and he kept turning as he was pulling the rod through the barrel, and next thing you know, it's a spiral. And they discovered that a round ball, if you turn it very slowly, flies pretty consistently. You know what consistently means? I know you don't.
I do.
What does it mean?
I know what it means, but I don't know how to say it.
It means you can get an answer right every time. Yeah, so you're doing the same thing. So the ball is going to fly to the same place roughly every time. And that's assuming I got the same amount of powder, and then the ball was made from the same mold, you know, for the weapon. And so in the hands of the right man, a rifle weapon could be very dangerous at long range because that thing's going to fly fairly consistently. So I don't know of any non-rifled weapon hits in the American Revolution that are documented, but there's a bunch of rifle hits. And there's a few, a smaller number, but a few out at very long ranges, plus 300-yard ranges. The longest one I'm aware of is 400 yards.
Wow.
4 football fields. That's a long way. I can't even see 4 football fields with my specs on. So long-range hits are very possible in the hands of the right man. An English guy, an officer over in England, says if you're an officer and you're going to America, what's going on in America? To shoot them up. If you're an officer going to America, take your rank off. What does that mean?
Yeah.
He's a target.
These guys are going to reach out and touch you. And so he says hit in the hands of an expert marksman, hits of 150, 200 yards or greater are very probable in the hands of an expert marksman. But out of every 20 guys around, there's probably one guy that can shoot worth a hoot. I mean, lots of guys, you know, talk about having a whole arsenal of weapons, but they probably can't shoot worth a crap. That's me. I can talk a lot of stuff, but I can't shoot. Can't back it up. So The loading process for the rifle is whatever the guy is doing. There is no manual for a rifle weapon. As far as I know, even in the militaries, the British military that manufactures some rifles, no manual for it. So what I'm going to do is go through and tell you what I would do if I heard the whole line out there of military guys, regular infantry guys with the smoothbore weapons. They would get a simple command. They would get a simple command and go through the motions pretty quickly and be done. There's no manual for the rifle weapon, so everybody might do it a little bit differently. And I'll tell you what I'm going to do, and I'm going to do what the Park Service likes us to do for the most part. Is that cool? So I'm a relatively young guy in the line, and I've never been in battle before. Finally got impressed in the service because the war's coming to the backcountry, and Tucker's going to shout out this command to about 200 men, and he's going to say at the top of his lungs, "Prime and load." So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to look around. I'm going to see these guys loading very quickly, handling their ammunition, and I'm going to realize I've got to do all those steps that they do. It's all measured out for them. It's already been done before they get to loading. So I'm going to have to get some gunpowder in the weapon, and I'm going to carry gunpowder in something like this. Why would I do that?
Keep it dry.
Exactly. Waterproof, Rubbermaid Tupperware container of the 18th century. I could just pour it into the barrel, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to measure it out. This holds about 75 grains. That's what works good in this weapon. There's a fair chance that I got a mold with the weapon that allows me to make balls that fit it. The mold was probably produced by the gunsmith. So I'm going to carefully pour it in. I want the ball to fit fairly snug. I don't want to squeeze the ball out of shape. You know, lead's kind of soft. I don't want to squeeze it out of shape, but I want it to fit tight so no gas is getting by, and the patch is going to make the ball follow the rifle. So I'm going to probably take a piece of linen out, probably already cut, already greased, lay it on the muzzle. I'll take a lead ball out that I made, lay it on the muzzle, take a block of wood, a little piece of a tool or something, and push it into the rifling to get it started. Once I get it started in there, I'll put that away. If I have any patch material sticking out a little bit, I may trim that off possibly to keep it from affecting the flight of the ball as it comes out of the barrel. So right now I've got powder in here and I've got a ball right there. So I've got to push it down the barrel. So I'll draw the rammer. I'm going to ram the charge all the way down, stow the rammer, and I'm getting there. So now I've got to put some priming powder in the pan. And I could prime from the Bighorn, but for me it's easier to see if I use a little gadget. The sunlight helps too. So now that it's primed, so the major is going to give me 3 commands to discharge the weapon. The first one is going to be make ready, top of your lungs. The next one is going to be take aim, give me a couple seconds in between. And the next one is the one where I'll pull the trigger, okay? You got that? So at your leisure, Major Tucker.
Make ready!
So I'm going to bring the weapon up in front, go to full cock. Now it's ready to go. The next one is going to be take aim.
Take aim!
I'm going to level the weapon. You know what the next one is?
Fire!
So the weapon goes off. I'm going to come down to the priming position, wait on a command. But in between, I'm going to start cleaning, doing housekeeping. My flint did not come loose. It is a little dirty in here, but I'm not going to wipe it till y'all look at it. So every shot is accompanied by fouling, collecting. After a few shots, it's going to get very nasty. You're going to have to wipe, clean, brush in between. A lot of work.
A lot of work.
So it seems kind of antiquated today, not very cool, but in the 18th century, this is state of the art, the best in the world. Is that wild?
And what kind of rifle is that
Empires were
again?
built on weapons like this.
What kind of rifle is that again?
A long rifle.
A long rifle?
So I'm waiting on a command.
Prime and load!
Hey, and I'm not going to talk this time. It's going to be hard. But I'm going to go through the loading operation. See, I'm already talking. So it may take me upwards of a minute or longer if I'm actually loading a patched ball. I'm simulating it here. Grease patch simulated, lead ball simulated, started getting in the barrel simulated, trimming simulated. So y'all must be generating some great mental energy out here to make this thing spark. That turned out to be not too cool.
Meg, ready? Aim! Fire!
Oop! Our service is going to make us wait a few seconds to see if it goes off. It's not. And so I'm going to lower it down and look at the problem, and I did not get enough spark to create some burning powder. So I'm going to do a little wiping, clean. Obviously I didn't do enough homework or housekeeping after the first shot. And I'm going to give it a try again.
Meg, ready? Aim!
Not that fast.
Fire!
Very good. It works when he's focused. So, say shoulder fire locks.
Shoulder fire
You got to
lock.
blurt it out. Stand up. You got to blurt it out.
Shoulder fire lock!
Now I'm going to relax because I think I'm marching off the camera.
The smell of burning gun.
Secure fire locks.
Secure fire locks!
To the right about face. To the right about face.
To the right about face.
Order fire locks.
Order fire locks.
Relax.
Relax.
That's not a command I made. So, do y'all have any questions about the rifle?
That's cool.
So this is like the fellow was asking about the name of it or the type. The American long rifle is actually a weapon that evolves in the colonies. Europeans that come over, mostly Germans that are into weapons manufacturing, learn when you get to the colonies that things in America aren't exactly like they are in Europe. Powder's inconsistent. They start making the barrel longer, the bore smaller. They start rifling and use less powder, less lead, longer burn time on it, higher velocity, more consistent fire, longer sight radius between your eyeball, the rear sight, and the front sight. All of it combines into a very effective weapon. Now my comrade that's just showing up to relieve me of duty is going to tell you about a much less effective weapon. Are y'all ready for that?
Yeah.
All right, well I appreciate y'all hanging around. Thank you very much. I'm going to turn it over to Jim.
Thank you.